Welcome to the Holy Fire Hangout, where today we're going to discuss fear. My name is Will Mitchell. I'm a Reiki Master Teacher from Rochester, New York, and I specialize in Usui Holy Fire Reiki. And it is 11:11 in Melbourne, so perfect. Way to go. Everybody make a wish. Melbourne, Australia, that is. And today in the room, we have Barbara, Michelle, Ray, Maria, Valerie, and Zach. And there's several others with Maria, Al, and Sabrina. So today, we're going to talk about fear. What is fear? What does it do to us? How do we let go of fear? So today's format, greetings and introductions, we took care of that. I'll talk about an overview of Reiki, the Reiki ideals, the holy fire, and the three heavens. What's the difference between meditation and a holy fire meditation experience? Then we can unmute and I'll have a discussion about fear. Then we'll do a holy fire meditation experience. We'll do some journaling and share what the holy fire shared with you. We can continue our discussion on fear if you'd like after that. So Reiki. Reiki is a Japanese relaxation technique that also promotes healing. It's made up of the two Japanese words rei and ki, where rei means divine or universal and ki means energy. So Reiki means universal life force energy. Reiki is around us, in us, through us. And when Mikao Usui rediscovered Reiki in the 1920s, he gave us the Reiki ideals. He called it the secret art of inviting happiness, the miraculous medicine for all diseases. Just for today, do not anger, do not worry, and be filled with gratitude. Devote yourself to your work and be kind to people. The holy fire is that one spirit that binds us all together. It's the burning in your heart. It's your connection to everything, to all that is. It's your connection to your highest level of excitement. It's this and much, much more. Holy Fire Reiki is a recent evolution in Reiki. It's both powerful and gentle, as well as provides purification, healing, empowerment, and guidance. Holy Fire Reiki is noticeably more refined and comes from a higher level of consciousness. It is unlimited. In Holy Fire Reiki, we teach of the three heavens. We're in the first heaven. It's our 3D universe. It's the people. It's Mother Earth. It's the air we breathe. It's the plants, the animals, the stars. The second heaven is everything that's non-physical, dualistic, and ego-based. The third heaven is beyond ego and clear expressions of God's unlimited love, awareness, and power. It always respects free will. Now, I found that there's a difference between meditation and a holy fire meditation experience. In meditation, I was given a mantra and told to concentrate on my breathing. And when a stray thought comes in, I would simply acknowledge the thought, allow it to go, and refocus, put my attention back to my breathing and the mantra, and sit in the bliss. With the Holy Fire meditation experience, the same type of thing happens. That when a stray thought comes in, you acknowledge it, and then return to the visualization. But if it's not one of those stray thoughts, not something about what am I supposed to do in the yard today or what am I supposed to pick up from the grocery store, then it's the Holy Fire talking to you and taking you on an experience. Please allow that to continue. So fear. Who has an opinion on fear? Please unmute, talk.
It's not bad, but it's not good. So just is one of those things that we have to deal with in life.
Okay.
I think that's a good start. Anyone else?
Um, yeah, it's not something, I don't know, it can be awkward, but it definitely, it shows aspects of yourself that maybe need, for lack of better words, integration, something to potentially work on, something, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to view fear and what type of fear as well, how that resonates with you.
Well said.
I would also like to say that, yeah, it just depends on what kind of fear it is, because, there's a mother that has fear for her children, which is a completely different fear than a lot of other kinds of fear. Like, I don't know, I guess you could be afraid of everything when you walk out the door. Anything could happen. So, but then there's other fears that are more realistic, I guess, and in your face. So, I mean, I've sometimes had a fear so bad that my arms went numb. If you hear your son's been in an automobile accident or something like that, it's like your heart just stops and my arms went numb. So that's a whole different kind of fear. There's just so many different kinds. I don't know how you could explain them all.
What kind of other examples do you have?
Oh, there is fear that you won't get any rain. And you've spent all this time and energy planting a garden. And so then there's the need for rain, especially for farmers that are, big farmers, whatever. If they don't get the rain, they don't get a crop, they don't make any money. And so there is that fear. There is also the fear of no money, not being able to provide for yourself or your family, fear of losing your job. Those things are kind of combined. There's fear in a thunderstorm. That's a whole different kind of fear again. I could go on and on. I think there's just a lot of different types of fear.
Yeah, fear of being vulnerable, putting yourself out there. It could be conditioned fear through society, your childhood, how you were growing. It doesn't necessarily have to be so primal, for lack of a better word. Something life or death. It could be something else. But I mean, in a way, all fears lead to, if you trace it back, could lead to the fear of dying in a way. But yeah, I mean, there's different ways it could have, that fear could have come into your psyche or into your, being.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Michelle. So for me, fear is probably the biggest thing I deal with in my life, because I have fear, real or imagined. That is my experience. I may imagine a thing to be something that requires my energy in the feeling of fear. And what I have found over the years is that my fear is just fear. I can't remember whatever president said, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. It's false evidence appearing real. Fear to me indicates my lack of trust in the universe. Fear also, when I engage in it, cripples me. Fear of not good enough, fear of success, fear of failure. I can fear myself into a coma. And what that ends up for me in my particular situation being is that I don't trust God. I don't trust the universe is here to support me. I don't trust the universal laws. I don't give myself enough credit. I don't love myself enough to believe I am worthy of all the good things. So fear, even though a lot of it is learned and we are inculcated, like if you do this, then that. If you wear that outfit, then people won't like you. If you laugh a certain, I mean, there's so many ways we are taught to be afraid of how other people perceive us. And it is like a lifetime of undoing and unlearning these fears and trusting in the universe that there's freedom. That's been my experience. Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle.
And may I add that there's fear of just even going out of your house. I knew a woman who was like that and inflicted with that pain to not even be able to go outside her home. There are definitely a lot of different fears. Fears you'll drink again, or fears you'll smoke again if you've quit doing those things. There's just, there's so many. Yes,
Here's
Michelle?
the thing that I've noticed too, though, is that which we think about, that is what we draw into ourselves. So, for instance, like in the last couple of weeks, I really haven't wanted to leave my house. And that's an irrational fear. There's nothing scary outside. You know, like, oh, look, it's a beautiful day. I'm not going outside. Why? That doesn't make any sense.
Michelle, I've been there too. I think, sometimes you get paralyzed by your fears. Like you said, you can put yourself into a coma with it. But, you can paralyze yourself as well, to where you're just paralyzed. You can't go out the door. You don't want to talk to anybody else,
Right. But the action that I know I can take is leaning into source, leaning into love, leaning into that which moves me forward. Or even, as Sabrina and I were talking about, leaning into that which gets you so irritated with yourself that you're like, really? Like, make a move. It's something I really just have to be cognizant of. I really tend to try to live my life, or I should say, I act like I've been doing this for years, but in the last couple of years, I've paid really close attention to attaching a fear to something, because I don't want to draw that fear onto me, that situation. And I'll just stop at that.
Gotcha.
I was going to say, some fears I've heard are linked to, maybe a past life, where some people can actually go back into their past life and be able to experience that fear again, and then come back out of it, live this life, and know and be aware of where that fear came from and no longer have it.
Yeah. Actually, I don't have a direct fear of water, but I definitely have a fear of, I'm overcoming it, but of like being in open water and not knowing what's below me. Like, just the not knowing of like what's underneath me. And I've found out that my last life or whatever, I drowned. As back in the 60s, I died, I drowned, and that's kind of where it stemmed from. And through getting scuba certified and stuff, I've started to overcome it, but it's still there. So it's interesting. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just like jumping off the side of a boat and like being like having this urge to like rush back like to the boat, not knowing what's below me, and like, I don't know. It's interesting. Like when I was scuba itself, it was okay, but when I got to the surface, it came back.
That's the beauty of walking through a fear. Walking through any fear I've walked through, you come out on the other side different. Like, I hear, Zach, you saying, I do this, but then it comes back. But
that same thing
there's
happens
a way.
to you,
There's a way to, yes, and there's a way to redress that, I think, and that's probably sending love to that part of you that was wounded in whatever way. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying anything. That's that's how I feel about it. I'll try anything. But walking through the fear, for me, in my life, it's always, like, I did a lot of things today I did not want to do, and I feel like $1,000,000. Like, I'm really proud of myself for walking through everything I didn't want to do today. So.
That's awesome, Michelle. And might I add just one more thing? I had the opportunity to go to Vegas and went up in that Eiffel Tower thing. I really wanted to go up there. I like begged my husband to take me up. And so finally we did. And I thought it was going to be the best thing ever. I could hardly wait. I got up there and I was so scared. I was literally sweating in my sandals. They were soaking wet. My feet were just wet. I couldn't move from the inside wall. I was just paralyzed by that. And I was just shocked that I was, because I didn't even know that I had that fear until experiencing it. So there's another kind of fear.
Surprise.
So I was wondering, are there rational fears?
Depends on your perspective.
Well, I'm asking you your perspective.
From where I am in my point, no. I mean, it's all worth integrating. It's all an indicator of some way. Someone who might have a different belief system that believes in, for instance, not in reincarnation, they might have a valid fear of, dying, because that's it for them.
So how about if you're being chased and behind you you have somebody with a flamethrower, and then in front of you all you have is a whole bunch of razor blades that are pointing up? Exactly. I like the ridiculous here. So do you have a fear of dying, or do you have a fear of running over razor blades?
That's really odd that you just mentioned that, because last night I seriously dreamt that I watched myself die. I had flipped right over in the middle of a street. I'd been hit by something, and I watched my body flip around like a rag doll and die. So, and I really wasn't afraid. And I thought that was odd.
We had something similar happen recently, but I can't remember what it was.
Michelle has something to say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have never had good sense, as my mother would like to tell me, like common sense in the being afraid of things that a lot of people are afraid of, like walking in the dark in a bad neighborhood alone. Like that doesn't faze me. like being on the edge of a cliff really high, or doing some silly stunt that could definitely kill you. Like none of that ever scares me. What scares me is like paying my bills. Or like really 3D stuff. Like what scares me is that maybe, even though I love photography and art, that if I try, I will fail and that will break my heart. Those are the kinds of things I'm afraid of. Physical things I'm not afraid of. If I'm supposed to die, whatever. But, these little things, little tiny life things that I could fail or succeed at, those terrify me. I mean, those seem to be the biggest things that come up for me as far as fear goes.
Okay, Michelle Caswell, did you want to?
Don't know where to begin, but the few ones that I wanted to mention, there weren't really, not physical, but just generally being hurt, failing, being wrong, not being free, and just like things like that, I guess. And like just love-related crap. And it's not easy to approach. That's, or at least I don't know if I think that or if I believe that or what. And then of course not knowing what to believe is a fear when there's so many things you could put your trust into. Who am I going to trust? Myself, or gotta have faith, all that? I don't know. Just thought I'd mention. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, this
So
is
I guess.
Barbara.
Oh, that.
Go ahead, Barbara.
It's one of my fears is talking live, but I agree with both Michelle's. I have a lot of fear, and I'm trying to get over that, but I have so much fear it really keeps me from doing things that I love, like walking in the woods. I love walking in the woods, but I don't like to walk by myself. I'm more afraid of humans hurting me than anything else. And things like that, it just holds me back from doing a lot of things. And it's just, I'd love to get rid of it.
Okay. Thanks for sharing, Barbara.
Totally get it, Barbara and Michelle.
Yeah, I think it's too bad that people have to feel scared to go out, for a walk by themselves, and especially women, because you do hear all the terrible things, and that could keep you back from doing a lot of things, and I can see why. But the other side of it is, and the way I think of it is, when your time's up, it's up, and there's not a darn thing you can do about it. There's sometimes I just recently heard of a guy that had a tree fall over him on him while he was fishing in the woods. So, I mean, you could be out having a great time and have something happen, or you can just take your chances and go do what you want to do. Because really, I think of it like this. I have protection with me all the time, you know? Just ask for that, and it's there. And then you feel comfortable to go do whatever you want to do. And just don't let that hold you back from living your life. And fear can do that, and I've had to do that. But you can look at the other side of it, and that's kind of how I came out to the other side, was through the light and through the love of God, and knowing that that's always with me no matter what I do, and always protecting me. And should something happen, then I guess that's where I'm going. So, I mean, or maybe another planet. But whatever the case may be, I'm good with that. I'm good with that outcome.
Thanks, Valerie.
Beautiful response. Thank you.
Yes, Barbara?
I was going to say earlier, somebody mentioned about people being scared of going out of the house. I experienced that in 2012, where I could not step foot out of the house for months after surgery, or drive a car, or do any of that. So I can understand the fear in that, which is very overwhelming to have that fear. The first time I went out, I had to have somebody drive me. I was so scared. My knuckles were white, so I understand that part of not being able to go outside.
Do you have any words to share with other people who might have the same issue?
As I said, I went through the same thing too, and it was also after surgery. And I just think that that's a time in your life when you do go through a lot of depression, because a lot of things are changing for you. Maybe it's the first time you've never been able to do something. In my case, that was the case. That was my first time ever hurting anything, and it just happened to be super major. And so it just set my whole life, in my opinion, back. Like pulled the rug out from under me. And I just didn't know where I was going to go, what I was going to do, how I was going to make a living. I still had a child at home. There was just so much on top of me, along with payments, credit cards, things like that I don't have now, thank God. But at the time, it was a lot of pressure. And quite honestly, I thought of just committing suicide. I did. I have to admit that. It's not a great thing to admit, but I had some extra pills and from the surgery, and I thought I could just do this and get it over with, and then I would not have to worry anymore. I wouldn't have to worry about going out of the house. I wouldn't have to worry about my bills or anything else. But what stopped me was God. I'll say it again. That was my light at the end of the tunnel. When I got that low, there was a light there. I guess it was a voice that said, "What are you doing? This is just a day. Just a day. Just a moment in time. Get over it. You know, don't do this. Get help." And so that's what I did. You know, when Phil came home, I told him how I felt and what I was going to do. I asked him to take the medication out of the house, and I asked him what he thought I should do, because I really didn't know what to do. And he said he didn't know either. He'd never experienced that. But if I needed to call a psychiatrist, do so. But you know what? Get help from whoever I could. And so actually I didn't go to a psychiatrist. I went to a psychic. That's just my way of thinking is, you know, I'll get help this way. And it was great because the psychic knew already. Didn't have to tell her what had happened to me, what was going on, anything. She knew. She told me. She told me that I just had to get over a couple of little humps and it would be okay. You know, it's nothing I hadn't been through before, nothing tougher than I'd ever been through before in my life. That just get over the couple of jumps and you're going to be okay. And that stuck in my mind. And one other thing she said was try to get outside of your own self, get outside your own mind. And I didn't really know what that meant. And I think we've talked about that before. But it meant for me to start thinking about others, to look at others and what they're going through. And remember that you don't know what's going on behind someone else's smile. Because I smiled a lot to other people, all the while in misery. And it made me realize that behind those smiles, a lot of time is a lot of pain. And I realized I wasn't alone and that God was right. I didn't need to do that. It was just a moment in time. Just a little moment in time, too. So I'm glad I didn't do that, and I hope no one else does that either. Just listen to your inner voice that says there is a tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a better day.
Valerie, can I just say thank you very much for those words?
Same here. Thank you. Those are powerful words.
Yeah, thanks, Phil.
I think I might have just been channeling my inner self.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you because it takes a lot of courage to always admit what you're feeling and what you're going through. Not a lot of people are open to share their stories. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And just as people aren't always, you know, I mean, and also the other side of that, you know, to have the courage to really listen. A lot of people, if you try to, I've had the experience, if you try to open up to certain people, they shy away from it. They don't know how to react, deal with it. Maybe that's just, you know, something they're dealing with on their own side. But both ends, it takes a lot of courage and openness too. So yeah, thank you. I was personally suicidal when I was 10 years old or so, 10 or 11 years old. For a little while. So at a young age, I had that experience, and I don't really know why, but yeah. So no, thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
So the
guys.
thing that just popped in my head, though, is like the solution. Yes, we all have fear, but what is a solution to the fear? And maybe Holy Fire will help us with that. But what popped in my head really loudly was love transmutes. Love transmutes. And I think that's true. Like the idea that I am, okay, you know, I have a great education. I am talented at what I do. But to think I have spent years and years and years judging myself so harshly of not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. And it's all, again, a moment in time. It's a trick of the brain. The brain loves to go in circular motion. A thought I thought before, let me think that again. And what I found is kind of sitting in meditation and really just letting, like crying all the cries that I never cried when I was sure I was not good enough, in addition to sending like my inner child love, transmuted that at least for a time, and then I got distracted and I let up on my practice. But it definitely shifts because love transmute. Fear only exacerbates the problem. Like us giving in to fear, me giving in to my fear, exacerbates the problem, where when I step outside the problem and I try to walk through the problem with the idea that even if I fail, I'm still a decent, good human being and I deserve to be here in the world.
You do, Michelle. You are a good person. And, just trust in God. I know you said you have a hard time trusting, but, trust in that. Trust in yourself and trust in God. I know you're a strong person. I've heard you talk, and you really do have such strength inside you. I admire you so much.
Thank you, God.
This is such a great group. Everybody's sharing powerful stuff and supporting each other. I love it.
And by the power of his awesomeness.
So how about we ask the Holy Fire now? Is everybody ready to meditate here?
Yep.
Definitely.
Awesome. Totally cool. So everybody get comfortable, please. So I'm going to set my intention here that the Holy Fire helps to remove fears in anyone who wants the fears removed. And I will set my intention also that if the Holy Fire clears anything in any one individual, that the Holy Fire will also clear it in the collective consciousness as well. And also set my intention that everyone has the experience that will serve their highest good in this now. So everyone, let's get comfortable. Close our eyes. Let's take a deep breath. Breathe in, relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Breathing and relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Let's take a moment to invite in Mother Earth. Let's start in our heart center and go through our root chakra, down through our feet, deep into Mother Earth. Like growing roots, just imagine growing roots down into the earth, deeper and deeper, wrapping those roots around the core and bringing back the spirit of Gaia back through our feet, through our root chakra, and back to our heart centers. Breathing and relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Let's invite in the third heaven energies. Let's start in our heart center, go through our crown chakra, the top of our head, reaching up, up, up into the third heaven, grabbing those awesome energies and bringing those back down through our crown chakra and back into our heart center, swirling those around with the energies from Mother Earth, like the yin and the yang. Breathing and relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Breathing and relaxing. Exhale, releasing. Let's take a moment, invite in the holy fire. Feel the holy fire in your heart center. Imagine yourself in a forest. This forest is lush. It's vibrant, filled with life. As you look around, see a path exiting the forest. You follow along this path, and you make your way to a meadow. This meadow is filled with all your favorite flowers, and insects and butterflies and birds, whatever you choose, it's in this meadow. You find the perfect spot for you in this meadow. You sit down and glistening on the dewdrops. In one dewdrop, you happen to see a special light, a glimmering, shimmering light. This light is from the third heaven. Allow this light to enter your soul. Allow this light to take you on a journey. when you're ready. If you feel like continuing your experience, please do so for as long as you desire. For those others, please slowly bring your attention back to your fingers and toes, wiggling them. Bring your attention back to your breath, and back to your eyes, in this here and now. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. And open up your notebook. Write about your experience or write about it online, whatever you choose to do. Documenting your experience is, to me, essential about going back and looking at things afterwards. So I'm going to mute and write down some things about my experience.
Thank you for that, Will.
Are we ready yet?
Yes, please share.
Okay. Well, since we were talking about fear, I guess my mind was going there. And so I guess my biggest fear was never seeing my little dog Bella again. And that's what it was in my mind. Anyways, so when I went into meditation, I found that she was by my side. And so she was able to walk with me through the woods and alongside a creek. I'm not sure how you say it, creek or crick or anyways, alongside the water. And it was just a beautiful day with the sun just streaming down through the trees, the little flowers along the way. She loved smelling the flowers and still does. And along came another little dog that I had completely not recognized. And the little dog was telling me, and not talking like we talk, but telling me that its name was Blackie and that it was a dog that I had when I was only 1. And so that was that was kind of fun. I didn't know I had a dog when I was 1, so now I do. And that's how the trip continued, going and meeting all of the animals that I've had throughout my whole life. And wow, do I have a group waiting for me. This was really, really amazing. And it just, yeah, it was just what I needed to know that I not only am going to see Bella, but I'm going to see a lot of other animals too that I have really loved throughout my life. And that's so exciting and wonderful. Thank you so much.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Thanks for sharing, Val. Anyone else? Come on, there's got to be somebody who's done writing. Maria, Michelle. I know Michelle and Zach are still writing.
Well, I guess I think that if we can just shrug off these fears, we'll find that we are free. We're a lot freer in our souls than what we ever thought we are. That was just a moment of freedom for me, complete freedom.
Very cool. Okay, I guess I'll share mine. Mine was pretty quick. So I was taken by the light. And after my human body was taken by the light, I was given a new viewpoint. I became a flower in the meadow. I was a daisy. And there was a dewdrop on the center, not on any of the petals. And my viewpoint was looking through the dewdrop out towards my human body that was sitting in the meadow. And the light shimmered and glimmered off of the dewdrop into the human's heart, and that was, me, but it wasn't me. And I saw the human me disappear and be taken by the light. Then I was transformed into the droplet in the dewdrop, a droplet in the dewdrop. So I was one of the little things floating around in the dewdrop. And that was pretty cool for a little bit. Then I transformed into a fly. And as I was flying around, there was a little boy that was also in the meadow, and he took a jar and captured me in the jar. And I'm going, oh, very cool. Luckily, there's air holes in the jar, in the lid. And then I became a bee on the outside of the jar and just started flying around, and it was that was pretty interesting. So I then flew into outer space. Why? I don't know, but that's where I went. I felt free and fearless. And then that's when my ego stepped in again and says, well, I'm not getting any information on fear. So then I was taken back to be the fly inside the glass jar, and then the little boy was really curious, so he took a stick and he crushed my body up against the side of the glass jar, and I died. And my spirit left the fly's body and just sort of was sitting on the outside of the jar looking at the dead body going, wow. And I returned to the oversoul, and I was just a simple vibration. I was the smallest thing that could vibrate. But what was interesting is I was a pink violet vibration. Just sitting up there, waiting for my next assignment, whatever it is, and I was just sitting in the bliss. That's all I got. Welcome, Sean.
Hello, much love to all. Love you, Will. Love you, everyone.
Much love, Sean.
Much love, Sean. Mine was really simple. It was I had in my memory the garden of the last time, so I was hanging out there and painting, and I just had this sense of green crystal energy all around me. I don't know how to explain that, but those are the words. It was like love, and it felt, I don't know why it felt like crystals, but it did. And it was happy energy and loving energy, non-judgmental energy. And then kind of a small dialogue about the judgment, self-judgment, and how really this may sound a little, I'm not sure, but the world abounds in what I perceive sometimes to be tons of mediocrity. And people are really successful at being mediocre. Why not you, Michelle? Really? So, the overall sense is you are so loved. Really, you just have to move a muscle. And trying is trusting. And if you want to move to the next step, failure may be part of the process, but it doesn't define who you are. It just is what it is. It's an experience. So experience the joy. That's what I got.
Thanks for sharing. Interesting. Does anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I guess I can. I guess I can. Yeah, I can. Well, that was interesting. So what happened was I was sitting in the field, and then the light came in, and then all of a sudden, it brought me to the moment I was dying in the last life I lived, actually. And my heart's starting to quicken as I talk about it. So I can't remember. Well, I can't remember. I don't know if I don't have clarity on if I was like knocked overboard a ship or if I was just swimming or something. But I think I was just swimming, and what happened was I believe it was at night, and somehow I started to drown. I'm not really quite sure how. But I do remember what it was like to be, under the water and having that feeling and seeing that happen. And yeah, and then I guess it was probably the Holy Fire was talking to me about it. And I don't remember exactly what the words were, but I was shown that, and then I was also shown another fear of mine, which would be more akin to, I guess, more in just specifically to relationships, of expressing myself fully to who I am, because when I was younger, I would love a lot, but then also get hurt just as much, and it was due to my lack of clear communication and expression